Newton's second law. Force equals mass times acceleration. This describes gravitational force, or simply G-force. G-force is something that we all experience in life. Every day, every hour, every minute, and every second, we have some gravitational force on our body. In motorsports, however, drivers are put under high G-force quite often, and over the course of this video, we'll cite multiple examples of this. This is Newton's second law of racing. Top Fuel dragsters are the fastest accelerating land vehicles on planet Earth. While a Bugatti Veyron can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 2.5 seconds, a Top Fuel dragster can do the same in less than a second. They can travel at speeds exceeding 330 miles an hour and accelerate at roughly 3.5 G. Being in the presence of one of these cars is really just absurd, as I can attest to having gone to drag races as a kid. It'll make your whole body and the ground you're standing on shake to the point where it can be registered as a small earthquake. Accelerating, braking, and cornering are where you're most likely to experience G-force, but the highest amount of G-force you will experience as a racing driver comes in crashes. This past September, I was racing in the 2021. I was on a test course when I had a catastrophic suspension failure. At 70 miles an hour, both tie rods on the front end of my shifter cart broke. My cart came to an abrupt stop after this, and I had sustained an impact of about 5 G. The back end of the cart was roughly 2.5 feet off the ground at that final stop, and if it wasn't for the high weight that I was at the time, I would have flipped. For a split second in that crash, my body weighed well over 1,000 pounds. And in the final stop, when both my feet came crashing down onto the pedals, it caused nerve damage that I'm going to live with for the rest of my life. However, 5 Gs is pretty much nothing compared to what we're about to get into.
Oh, that's a big crash as well, and that's the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson.
During practice for the 2018 Italian Grand Prix, Sauber driver Marcus Ericsson sustained a massive accident towards the end of the main straightaway. He registered 28 Gs in the crash, but was uninjured. However big this crash was, it didn't do much to affect his career, as although he left F1 at season's end, he then joined IndyCar where he's found a lot of success. His greatest achievement so far in the series came but a few weeks ago when he won the 106th running of the Indy 500. Some big crashes, however, can pretty much sideline a driver's entire career.
Oh, the male off into the corner, got trouble up in turn 4.
Oh, and there goes Terrio hard into the wall.
Austin Terrio sustained traumatic spinal injuries in a Truck Series crash at Las Vegas in 2015. Terrio was clipped by teammate Tyler Reddick exiting the final corner. He then slammed into the outside wall, unprotected by safer barrier, at probably 170 miles an hour. Terrio's carbon fiber Hans device was snapped and his helmet was destroyed when it hit the steering wheel. However, he would survive. This remains as the closest a driver has come to dying in one of NASCAR's top 3 series since the passing of Dale Earnhardt in 2001, and the closest in the Truck Series since Jeff Bodine's near-fatal crash in 2000. Although G-force figures were never released to the public, we can estimate the crash was from 35 to 50 G, which would have made Terrio's body weigh anywhere from 5,000 to 8,000 pounds. When it comes to racing accidents, one of the worst crashes you can ever have by yourself is a head-on collision with the wall. During lap 1 of the 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix, Romain Grosjean was clipped by Daniel Kvyat and hit the wall where his car split in half and burst into flames. The reason for this was the design of the barrier he hit itself, that being Armco. If you've ever driven on a major American highway, you probably see the metal guardrails on either side of the road. Just imagine 3 of those stacked together and you have Armco barriers. The problem with the accident was that the car was stuck in the barrier, which caused the car to get ripped in half and made it much more difficult for Grosjean to escape the crash with his life. There's really no need to sugarcoat this, Grosjean cheated death in this incident. He escaped with burns on his hands and feet and sustained 67 G in the crash. This crash is probably the worst accident in recent motorsports history, and the fact he lived, let alone is now racing in IndyCar, is unbelievable. However, this isn't the biggest G-force survived by someone. It's not even close.
We've got a problem, Kenny Brack in turn number 3. It looks like Scheckter and Brack. A very hard hit in turn number 3.
Kenny Brack is a man who deserves his own video, because despite his very successful career, he's only remembered for his accident in 2003 at Texas. After making contact with Thomas Schechter, Kenny Brack was sent into the gate of the catch fence. The impact was measured at an absurd 214 G. He broke his sternum, femur, shattered his back, and crushed his ankles. His injuries were so catastrophic that doctors actually collected parts of his ankle bones off the track and into plastic bags. It took Brack 18 months to recover, and his driving days were pretty much over. To this day, it's the largest G-force that a human being has sustained and lived to tell the tale. Before Brack, however, the record was taken by David Purley. At the 1977 British Grand Prix, David's throttle stuck and he hit the wall, sustaining 179 G. The only crash to rival Brack's mark of 214 came in 2010 when Chris Vanderdrift survived a 210 G impact in this crash at Brands Hatch. Thanks to incredible leaps in safety, however, men is able to conquer machine even more, survive these terrible accidents, and live to tell the tale of Noon's laws of racing.